Hi guys, this is Narwin, and I'm just going to talk to you guys about some Marowak builds. I just answered a question for some of you on the VGC subreddit that was asking about ways to counter Tapu Lele and Celesteela, and I had just recently posted on the VGC subreddit a Marowak spread, and I'm going to show you guys 3 spreads. Okay, we're going to start. We're just going to just a quick overlook at the 252 HP, 252 to attack, 4 defense, kind of adamant, just the standard Marowak. Okay, so, and all we're going to look at really is just the 2 things you're going to miss out on from dropping down to the first less bulky set, or less offensive set. Okay, so the 4 HP, 252 speed Talonflame. Okay, Shadowbone has a 93.8% chance to KO. Okay, and Aerodactyl. Okay, Shadowbone has essentially a guaranteed chance to OHKO. Okay, so these are the 2 things you're going to miss out on as soon as you drop down to the slightly bulkier set. Okay, those two KOs you lose. All right. The first thing you do is you can go for 16 defense with an Impish Nature. Now, as soon as you start wanting to invest in defense, you want to switch over to the Impish Nature because it will give you extra EVs. In fact, if you were to run this exact spread with Adamant, you actually miss out on 12 EVs, and that only lets you get up to 24 special defense. And those 12 EVs are going to matter. So, go Impish if you're going to start doing like bulky sets, to make sure you can get the most out of your EVs. Okay. And this 16 defense with the Impish Nature, what it does is it allows you to survive the Throat Chop from Weavile, the Jolly Life Orb 252 attack, match attacks Weavile. You get to survive the Throat Chop from them. Okay, it only does 99.4%. So you can survive the Throat Chop and Flare Blitz back to KO. Okay. The other thing is Golisopod. Okay, 252 attack, Adamant Nature. Okay, Liquidation. Alright, drop it down to level 50. Okay, Liquidation with 16 EVs and Boosting Nature doesn't have a chance to OHKO, so if you go 0, I think it might have a slight chance to OHKO. Adamant it only has a small percent chance to OHKO, even if you're not invested. But with the 16 EVs and the Impish Nature, Golisopod cannot OHKO you. Okay. Alright, and then for the last one, Tapu Fini. Okay. Tapu Fini, 252 that's attack. 252 special attack, modest. Okay. With Scald. Alright. Drop it down to level 50. Okay. Cannot OHKO you. Alright. So this set lets you ensure that you live Golisopod's Liquidation. Okay, which is something you're going to run into on Trick Room teams. It ensures that you survive the Weavile's Throat Chop. And it ensures that you survive Tapu Fini's modest with max attack. Now, I don't think most Tapu Finis are going to be running this much attack and special attack investment, but it just goes to show that with just a little bit of bulk, you can make sure that you take a whole bunch of attacks. And this doesn't just apply to Tapu Fini's Scald; it also applies to like Politoed and Pelipper's, as long as there's not rain. If there's rain, you're not really going to be able to survive them, at least not with a high degree of certainty. But it makes sure that out of rain you can take like a Scald from Politoed or Pelipper or Milotic, or even like a surprise powerful Scald from Tapu Fini. Okay. It also pretty much KOs everything that the 252 one does. Okay. Also, let's go look at Cella. I don't know if I showed you this yet. 252 bold. Okay, so this is max defense Celesteela. Alright, drop it down to level 50. Okay, this is where the 204 attack is from. Alright, it guarantees that Flare Blitz OHKOs max investment Celestial. So even with bold, even with max defense, even with max HP, 204 attack is all you need to ensure the KO on Celestial. So you don't lose any of your major KOs. You're still going to KO Coco, Lele, Bulu, Celestial, pretty much everything again that the max attack version does, except Talonflame and Aerodactyl. Okay, and the last variation of this I'm going to look at is a this one's if Tapu Lele specifically is giving you problems. Okay, so this one is 252 HP, 172 attack, 16 defense, and 68 special defense. Okay, 16 defense you can take out and put in attack if you want, if you're not worried about the Weavile Throat Chop, if you're not really worried about the small chance that Golisopod has to OHKO you. You can take them out and put them back in attack to get a little bit more attack in, but I don't really think it's worth it. I'll show you why with Celestial here in just a bit. The 16, so we're going to keep the 16 defense so we can still take the Weavile's Throat Chop, okay? The 68 defense, what that's going to let us do is we can now survive a Psychic from Tapu Lele in Psychic terrain from Modest and Max Special Attack. So Max Special Attack, Modest, Psychic terrain, Psychic cannot OHKO Marowak, okay? Gets a guaranteed 2-hit KO. Alright? Now, Shadow Ball, not going to hit KO either. Alright, you can see there. Now if you give this this Tapu Lele a Life Orb, alright. Now Psychic and Psychic Terrain has a chance to OHKO, right? Out of Psychic Terrain it doesn't. Shadow Ball only has a 12.5% chance to OHKO, alright? Not every Tapu Lele is going to be Life Orb. Not every Life Orb Tapu Lele is going to have Psychic. And even if they do, it's only got a 12.5% chance to OHKO you. So it's not really worth trying to EV to live. But if you wanted to, I think it's only like 92. So it would be 92 special defense EVs to live it, okay? You can either take that from your defense or you can take it from your attack. But I don't think it's not really worth it. And the other reason for that is that even with no investment, in your special defense, alright, Shadow Ball is not a guaranteed OHKO on Tapu Lele, even with Life Orb, Modest, Max Special Attack. But the Psychic is. So I don't think most people are going to go for a Shadow Ball when you're Marowak anyway, because again, in Psychic terrain, Psychic's got a guaranteed chance to OHKO, whereas Shadow Ball doesn't. So I don't think you need to be worried about the Shadow Balls too much anyway. Let's put this back, and let's go hop over and look at Celestial. Okay. The 252 bold, you're not going to get the OHKO on, okay? Only a 75% chance to OHKO it, okay? That's not a bad percentage chance, alright? The good news is I don't think most Celestial are going to be max defense, bold, max HP, okay? Most of them are probably going to be running some mixture of, HP, attack, defense, special attack, special defense. They're probably going to be running some mixture of these depending on what sort of build they're running. And 220, alright, 85% chance to OHKO at 216. Oops, click on the wrong arrow. At 216, if they're anything less than 216, Flare Blitz gets back up to a guaranteed chance to OHKO. So, again, I don't think most Celestial are going to be running this bulky, right? Which means you still get a chance to OHKO the vast majority of Celestial, alright? And even if they were max defense bold, you still got a 75% chance to OHKO them. So that's what this build right here is for, specifically to help handle Tapu Lele, because you can take that Psychic and that Psychic terrain, and to make sure you can still OHKO the Celestial. You lose out on, I don't know exactly which OHKOs you lose out on, but the ones you keep, you're going to keep getting to OHKO, Tapu Koko, Tapu Bulu, Celestial, Pheromosa, Buzzwole. Depending on how bulky the Buzzwole is, the Buzzwole has a chance to survive the Flare Blitz at this point. But the vast majority of the attacks the vast majority of your OHKOs stay intact. You only lose out actually going from 204 down to 272. You actually only lose out on 4 special attack. So if you look at this, 204, 226, okay, 176, okay, 222. You're actually only losing out on 4 special attack, or 4 attacks, sorry. So you're really not missing out on very much in terms of your offensive pressure between these two sets if you want to take the Lele's Psychic and Psychic Terrain. Alright? But you are missing out over the max attack one. You're missing out on like 23 attack or so. So I mean, that is relevant. So this one right here, if you want to make sure you can still hit Aerodactyls and Talonflames as well as just other stuff in the meta just as hard as possible. This one right here to survive, you know, a lot of the skulls that are going to be launched at you, as well as, you know, Throat Chop, as, you know, liquidation from Golisopod. And this one right here, if you want to take the, you know, the Tapu Lele's Psychic. Alright guys, and that's going to be it.